No! Tonight for once, I want the truth.
Did you kill Sakura's character arc?
Now we get to it.
Yep, we are indeed getting to it. And we're not going to waste any time getting into it either. So without further ado, let's take some life lessons from Sakura Haruno. Now, if anyone has watched Naruto and kept in touch with the fan base, you know that one of the most hated characters around is Minato Namikaze. Okay, I'm only kidding. What I meant to say was that anyone who has kept in touch with the fan base for any period of time should know that one of the most hated characters around is Sakura Haruno. Or Uchiha. Pick your poison because she's hated whatever her last name is. Now that isn't to say that every Naruto fan hates poor little Sakura. There is actually a large portion of the fan base that really likes her. And in current times, some have stood up to try to defend against hating on her character, which I find very admirable. But setting aside the admirable and taking a closer look, why is Sakura so hated? Well, that's actually pretty easy. Sakura was underused and underdeveloped. Not all that surprising since Kishimoto wanted to focus more on Naruto and Sasuke. Sakura also made some questionable choices throughout the series that really pissed fans off. Her confession to Naruto in the Land of Iron, for example. Quite ironically, a hidden character developing moment that many people hate on because it is combined with a fairly big mistake. She also hesitated in her attempt to stab Sasuke, almost getting herself killed, and refused to stab Obito's eye when the pressure was on for her to do so. So yeah, those. So Sakura was hated long before what I'm about to talk about here. But I am going to talk about it because it lands a direct finger on what I mean by flattening, or stifling, or absolutely destroying character arcs. And the moment it happened was also very hated. And I'm talking about the one choice Sakura Haruno made that set her character progress back to zero. And that is going after and marrying Sasuke Uchiha. Now I'm sure I'm not the first to point out something about this pairing. I mean, just look at all these memes. But all of that aside, I want to point out one thing. And that is the fact that Sakura marrying Sasuke isn't the problem. Sakura marrying Sasuke would actually be fine if the characters had grown in certain ways as time progressed. It also would have worked well if character arcs had been incorporated into the story. But that's not what happened. What happened is that Sakura latched onto her childhood feelings of love and let them lead her into a marriage with someone who obviously wasn't marriage material. And this completely killed her character arc. How? Well, let's look at something people really hated when it happened in the series, but that shines a light on what Sakura needed to learn. Let's look at Sakura's confession to Naruto in the Land of Iron. Now we can all agree that this was pretty messed up, can't we? I mean, who wants to be told they're loved while the other person doesn't really mean it? Especially when the person telling you this is someone you've actually had feelings for a very long time. Not Naruto and not anybody. So yeah, this was a mistake. Yet at this point in time, I would suggest that Sakura's arc was coming full circle, and that she was in fact growing a bit at this very moment. Why? Because she was finally starting to realize that Sasuke Uchiha was an actual person. And that meant that Sasuke Uchiha was not who Sakura Haruno imagined him to be, but rather, Sasuke Uchiha was who Sasuke Uchiha actually was. At this point, someone on a very dark path who needed not to be joined, or even saved, but stopped. Because Sasuke Uchiha was dangerous. And Sakura made this fake confession to Naruto to protect him from going after someone who she was starting to realize was too far gone to continue burdening oneself with going after. She also did this because of the suffering she started to realize she was causing Naruto after a conversation with their mutual friend Sai, who revealed that Naruto was suffering a great deal because she had made him promise to bring Sasuke back. In other words, around this point in time, Sakura was coming to grips with the reality of who Sasuke Uchiha actually was. Sakura Haruno was breaking her fantasy. Sakura Haruno was growing up. And though she couldn't bring herself to deal the final blow when finally faced with the prospect of killing Sasuke, even bringing herself to the point of almost killing him was a massive achievement for her character. Now how does this dynamic change as the series ends? Well, Sasuke leaves his dark path behind and decides to go on a journey of redemption. So, marriage material now, right?
Wrong!
Sasuke is still dealing with his demons. That's what his redemptive journey is all about. And as noble as it sounds, and perhaps even is, Sasuke the Wanderer is not marriage material. And even asking to join him alone on this mysterious journey he's going on is a serious misstep. Sasuke also isn't yet proven. And by proven, I mean that though he let Naruto bring him back, his views may have still been a bit warped and not quite in line with the values of Konoha. To drive this home, we can even say that Sasuke is a bit of a variable at this point in time. And by saying this, I mean that his friends in Konoha don't really know him. Think about it. He's been a rogue outside the village for years. We, the audience, have been watching from outside. We know what he's been doing to an extent. We know in some sense how he's changed. Sakura and the rest of Konoha does not. So why does Sakura volunteer herself to join Sasuke on his redemptive journey while blushing like a lovesick girl? Easy. The answer is that she's actually a lovesick girl. This is why so many Naruto fans hate this scene. And in case you missed it, this is the hated moment I reference when speaking on breaking Sakura's character arc. See, the problem here is that Sakura wants to go with Sasuke on this redemptive journey, not because she knows and loves the true Sasuke at this point in time, but rather because the imagined idea she had in her head of him has come back full force due to his return to the village. Now, such a reaction for a teenager is perhaps not out of the question, but for a teenager who was achieving such clarity that they were right next to killing said person, I'm not so sure. Perhaps she should instead be slightly conflicted here, realizing that Sasuke hurt them in many ways and now trying to figure out how she feels about him. Perhaps that is one way of handling it. Either way, letting her fawn after him like a lovesick girl as she did here is not. Now, just to cut her some slack, I will say that perhaps if she was never taught these lessons about love, this worst reaction was in fact a possibility. She was still fairly young here, so let's give her that. But with both her parents being alive, and with figures like Tsunade and even Kakashi being pretty involved in her life, someone should have helped her break her fantasy again. All of that to say that allowing Sakura Haruno to go after Sasuke Uchiha romantically, without any real change happening between either character, should have been clocked as an absolute no-go. Kishimoto should have broke the plan. Check out my other videos on the topic of breaking the plan to see other scenarios where the author should do that. Now that being said, I want to get into something I think is very important to touch on here. And to do that, let's ask a very important question. What are the consequences of this failed character arc for Sakura? Well, to put her failed arc simply, Sakura should have realized Sasuke wasn't marriage material and moved on. Or married him later on if he changed through a character arc of his own. Instead, she let her childhood feelings for him lead her into a marriage where he is basically an absentee husband and father. And this is a bad ending for Sakura. And this bad ending leads me to something much greater than just Sakura Haruno and Sasuke Uchiha ending up together. To paraphrase the Joker, it's not about the pairing.
It's about sending a message.
And the message this pairing sends to any young girl or boy watching is that sometimes you fall in love young, or you fall in love at first sight, and you can't help but marry that person because you'll never be able to truly love anyone else. Now, I'm one to know that animes and cinema and movies can teach you a great deal about things. But
trust me, this ain't one of them times.
And real life will break into this false thinking very quickly, especially if you marry someone who ends up being away from home so often when you and the family need them there. For goodness sake, Sasuke's daughter saw him when she was a baby, then never saw him again till she was 11 years old, and he wasn't even the one searching for her when that happened. Now, in an anime like Naruto, Sakura seems only slightly annoyed by this, and the anime gives off the vibe that Sasuke's behavior as an absentee father and husband is only slightly annoying, with Sakura saying when asked by Ino about Sasuke contacting her that he doesn't, and that she just feels she has to do her best too. But in real life, let's just say that dealing with someone like Sasuke won't be so easy, and the fantasy you have in your head of said person will shatter into a million pieces, usually sometime after the honeymoon. Now, maybe it's not fair to hold up an anime to this level of story critique, but I think it's even less fair to let said anime potentially push a theme that could mislead young children and teens and even adults by giving them a false idea of what true love really is. And the anime does this by strongly pushing the false theme and showing Sakura going ahead and marrying Sasuke and minimizing the consequences of the false theme, which is the result of Sakura marrying Sasuke. Now, if they wanted to give Sakura a more tragic story arc, showing the realities of lashing onto these childhood feelings of love, I would leave this series alone, and I would respect what it was trying to do, though I don't prefer sad themes in general. Still, I am aware that sad themes are powerful and can teach great lessons. For example, imagine the weight of a scene between Naruto and Sakura in Boruto, where Sakura is perhaps working in the hospital, and Naruto visits her and says, "Hey, did you hear the news? Sasuke is going to be back in town soon." Then Sakura, instead of blushing and getting flustered like she used to, gives a small smile and brushes off the comment as she continues working. Naruto, seeing that her reaction has changed, asks her, "What? Is something wrong?" She wears a soft smile and simply says, "It's nothing. I guess I just don't blush anymore." A small scene like this, if done right and shown in the context of Sakura struggling because of Sasuke's absence, can have a huge impact. And just to give another example of a potentially powerful scene down the line, let's assume Boruto and Sarada, Naruto and Sakura's kids respectively, decide to get married. Everyone in the village are happy and giving their congratulations. But off to the side, we get a scene where Sakura is alone in her house, and she looks at a picture of Boruto and Sarada's team, then a picture of hers. Then turning back to look at Sarada's picture, she says to no one but herself in a whisper, "I'm glad you were able to have what I wasn't." My goodness, that would hurt. And such a sad statement coupled with sad music like from the old Naruto series may evoke some of that same familiar emotional weight we were used to and that Boruto is lacking. The original Naruto series had an advantage in that it felt like, though this was an anime, the characters were real characters dealing with real life. And that hurt to see a lot of the times. Why not let Sakura's struggle make us feel like that again? Now getting back to our topic, multiple scenes like the ones I just showed can add up to show that in the end, Sakura is not happy. As it is, we do see that Sakura is often struggling, with unpaid loans and single mother issues being at the forefront of things. But the tying back of her struggle in life to her choosing to marry Sasuke is much too absent. And when she still appears to blush or be flustered at the prospect of Sasuke's presence, the truth about how feelings may change is also missed. I'm not saying she has to hate the man, but for goodness sake, hold him accountable. And don't let it be that he's able to abandon the family with no real consequence. If it were properly handled, then perhaps people would look at Sakura and her decision to marry Sasuke and realize that latching onto those childhood feelings of love for a person can lead to a more than slightly annoying outcome. Please trust me when I say that the tingly feeling of love can be steadily chipped away at. And please believe me when I say you won't be happy with what it leaves in its place. It hurts, but it's the truth in many cases. Your fantasy will break, and then you'll realize that the Sasuke Uchiha you had in your head has only ever existed there. Now that being said, I hope you all can see why I took the time to make this video. When you start to mess with character arcs and themes in story, you have to realize that you're pushing something. Whether it's an idea or hidden truth or something else. That is simply what a story does. Through its characters and themes, a story argues something. And those who are watching, whether they realize it or not, are being influenced. Thus, I took a deeper dive into this situation because I believe Sakura's failed character arc didn't show the complete truth about the consequences of the choice she made. In Boruto, we can see some of the things she's dealing with, yes, but the link back to the fact that this pain would be avoided if she hadn't married Sasuke is mostly missing. Also missing is the reality that her feelings of love towards Sasuke are potentially now gone, or that they've at least been affected by his failure to live up to what she expected him to be. Thus, Sakura's character arc at best fails to show the full picture, and at the very worst pushes a very bad lie. And that, my friends, is very, very dangerous. So with all that being said, I hope you all will take this life lesson to heart and properly judge the situations you face as it relates to stuff like this. Because although Sakura won Sasuke in the end, she ended up realizing she never had him at all. And even worse, she perhaps never will.